on the issue of appraising property equally and evenly at fair market value. I simply cannot and will not sit quietly by and allow irresponsible comments and charges and reporting go unanswered that somehow my office is responsible for the action or inaction of local entities in doing what's right. Simply put, local entities are responsible for the local property tax rate set. Local governments in this area are responsible for the tax dollars that they collect from their constituents. And I'm here to offer a very simple solution, which is to do the right thing. Set fair and honest property values. And if property values are up, local government should lower their property tax rates to offset the rise in the property values so that Harris County citizens pay no more in dollars and cents than they do now when the tax bill arrives. This is a difficult job, and when the economy is booming and home prices are rising rapidly, that job is all the more difficult and necessary. Responsible local officials know the hard facts. The Metropolitan Appraisal District's group, led by your chief appraiser, Jim Robinson, objected to the methodology that we developed. I did not ignore that criticism. Instead, I accepted a second methodology based on their recommendation. It required the districts to provide more information. Several districts took advantage of this alternative procedure. Harris County Appraisal District, which had yelled perhaps the longest and the loudest about the need for an alternative procedure, the very ones who had proposed the alternative elected not to use it. Harris County has tested and continues to test positive for sales chasing in multiple property categories. This isn't simply a matter of legislative requirements for special treatment of homestead exemptions, because your problem extends to commercial property and land as well. Property values are rising rapidly in this area, and it appears that the appraisal staff is not doing its job. And let me reiterate another fact. The property taxes any government raises are based on two factors: the tax base and the tax rate. In periods where property values are rising rapidly, in economic boom times, the taxpayer has a right to expect that local leaders will lower the tax rate to hold down taxes. I am asking simply that you stop hiding behind the state skirts, tell it like it is to the public about the problems here. Property values are rising statewide because we have a booming economy. That does not mean that taxes must rise if local officials have the courage to put their own houses in order. So again, do the right thing, set fair and honest property values, and local officials lower your tax rates. Thank you very much.
This is Fox 26 News at 9.
He didn't have anything to do with these delinquent bills?
He ran Harris County Properties Appraisal Board for years, urging us to pay our taxes. Yet all the while, he allegedly wasn't even paying his own.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Darian Ward.
And I'm Jose Grignan. Mike has the night off. The back taxes date back as far as 15 years, and officials never noticed until now.
Fox 26's Carolyn Canville joins us with her first on Fox exclusive report. Good evening, Carolyn.
Darian and Jose, if you own property in Harris County, you may have been surprised when your last tax bill came. Home values shot way up, and in turn, tax bills did too. Well, here's another surprise. The guy who was in charge at the appraisal district for years, according to tax records, owes thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes, and someone owes taxpayers an explanation. Excuse me, Mr. Weish? Yeah. Hi, I'm Carolyn Canville with Fox 26. For 15 years, this man has had a lot to say about what you owe in property taxes. But apparently, he also had a secret.
I need to talk to you about some delinquent property taxes.
Until he retired last fall, George Weish was chairman of the board here at the Harris County Appraisal District, where property valuations are the name of the game. He ran the board that sets the budget, appoints the chief property appraiser, and hires the review board that hears your tax appeals. But all the while...
Can you roll your window down?
Not right now.
Sir, you were...
I'll talk with you, but not right now. I've got it in a hurry.
Weish was running up thousands of dollars in unpaid tax bills of his own.
When will you talk to us?
Over $52,000 worth, according to Harris County records. Bills going back as far as 15 years.
Why did you leave the board of directors at the appraisal district?
Cool.
Did it have anything to do with these delinquent bills? Sir, did it have anything to do with these?
Well, I'm shocked.
Harris County's chief appraiser, who worked under Weish, seemed taken aback at our findings.
Well, it's a surprise. What can I say?
It's serious business to taxpayers protesting a recent surge in home valuations and tax bills.
It's unbelievable.
Tax consultant Curtis Carden represents a lot of those taxpayers.
I could understand maybe 1 or 2 years or 1 or 2 properties, but the number that you've shown me is just really incredible.
Take a look at these 1999 tax statements. They show the former appraisal board chairman owes taxes on more than a dozen properties, including his real estate office, which shares space with a hair salon. This bill alone totals over $10,000. Weish even owes back taxes on his own home, plus an assortment of properties here on Houston's northeast side. Small rental houses, abandoned shacks, and vacant lots, including this one, housing nothing more than an old dump truck and a pile of trash. You served under him. He's got over $50,000 in delinquent taxes that he owes.
Well, I'd say it surprises me.
He's not the only one who's surprised.
Have you spoken to him about it?
I didn't know about it. I just learned about it a few minutes ago.
Mayor Lee Brown found out about Weich's tax bills because of our investigation, even though Weish was the city of Houston's lone voice on the appraisal board, appointed by Houston city leaders.
Well, there are no excuses for that. If you own property, you have to pay your taxes. I don't care who you are.
Weish was first appointed to the appraisal board in 1984 when Kathy Whitmire was mayor. He got reappointed 7 times, serving 15 years under 3 mayors. His last reappointment was in 1997, just before Lee Brown took office.
He was not appointed by this mayor.
But
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carried unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I think the other items are set forth in the narrative form. Probably don't need to be.
I see one of my bosses in the back, Tony Trumbull. Tony, everybody's talking to you. That's right. Leave it that way. That's why she's going to stay the boss, Charles. Yes, you will come down to.
If I may.
Sir? Yes, sir.
But just a little quick math here. So 1.3 million accounts and essentially 130,000 protests. That's 0.1%.
No.
1 in 1,000.
Actually, we.
As far as attendance at the International Association of Assessing Officers, that is an excellent gathering of tax people from the United States and most of Canada. There are meetings that are informative, that are inspirational. There are people there who can share experiences with you, what's happening in your part of the country. It's a very, very good meeting to go to. It's the only one that I plan to go to Canada. It's the only one I'm planning to attend this year because it is an excellent meeting. And I think three other board members are going, but it's at the discretion of a board member whether or not they attend, but we as a board collectively approve the attendance of board members at this meeting. You might be interested in knowing that for any board member to attend a meeting out of the state of Texas, it takes a vote of the board of directors to approve that. You don't just decide to go on our own.
But how many other districts in Texas, appraisal districts, are going to this? I mean,
I have no idea.
Now, I'm just curious.
Honestly, I just don't know.
And I have no idea either, but I would say to you, Mr. Edens, that this is an extremely large and complex operation, Harris County Appraisal District. It's about as big as the other two largest put together. It has a staff of over 500 people, and it's got a budget that's in excess of $30 million a year. And if the board of directors is unfamiliar with what other people are doing, and there's people from all over the United States, metropolitan areas all over the United States that attend this, you know, they have no way of knowing whether I'm, when I propose something, whether I'm, proposing something that should be done or not, unless they have been exposed to what other people do. And I think it's been very beneficial to the process for them to, to share experiences and to learn what other major metropolitan areas throughout this country are doing in handling different kinds of appraisal issues and appraisal problems. And you can argue that, in fact, that it's money very well spent for them to go because it makes them more competent in the performance of their deals.
Well, I agree, but in my business, we now have internet, we have other things, telephones, other things we do because we have to reduce our costs. And that's all I'm saying. I don't mean to take everybody's time up because they all have questions, but, we need to start getting costs under control for all government entities.
Ed, we appreciate your comments. Charlie.
Here's your Brooks Johnson music. Saturday night when the moon is out, I'm gonna head on over to the twist and shout. Find a two-step partner and a Cajun beat. When it lifts me up, I'm gonna find my feet. Out in the middle of a big dance floor, I can hear that little woman beg for more. Wanna dance to a friend from Louisiana tonight. Well, I never had to wander down to New Orleans. Never had to put me down by Bayou Street, but I heard that music on the radio, and I swore someday I was going.
Friends, rodeo is a sport born on the open range. Every year in November, Canada's best cowboys and best rodeo stock gather here in Edmonton, the home of the Canadian Finals Rodeo. Northlands Park's Silver City Wild West Show is a mini version of that annual event and a celebration of our great Western heritage. Ladies and gentlemen of the International Association of Assessing Officers, here it is, the Silver City Wild West Show.